For years, the men's 200 meters belonged to one man. Noah Lyles wasn't just winning. He was dominating. World champion. Fastest active sprinter. The athlete everyone expected to define the event for an entire generation. Lyles had single-handedly revived the charisma of track and field, turning every race into a theatrical performance. The world believed that sub 19.20 was his destiny alone. Then, one runner from Botswana quietly changed the story. While fans argued about Lyles' dominance or waited for the next teenage sensation in Gout Gout, Letsile Tebogo kept doing something far more dangerous. He kept getting faster, hidden in plain sight. In 2024, he shocked the planet by becoming Botswana's first Olympic gold medalist. In 2026, he reminded everyone that he isn't just defending a title, he's building an era of his own. But what's even more fascinating isn't just the stopwatch or the medals hanging around his neck. It's the way he runs. His technique looks almost unnatural, as if gravity affects him less than everyone else on the track. Today, we're breaking down the complex, unfair biomechanics of Letsile Tebogo to understand why he might have the smoothest sprint mechanics the world has ever witnessed. Before Paris, Noah Lyles looked absolutely untouchable over 200 meters. He had collected consecutive world titles, produced flawless championship execution, and established a psychological chokehold on his competitors. Enter the Olympic final. Lane assignments were set, the tension was suffocating, and Lyles was ready to claim his crown. But as the gun went off, the script flipped entirely. Tebogo exploded around the bend, showing a level of acceleration that caught the entire field off guard. As they transitioned into the home straight, the expected late surge from Lyles never materialized. Tebogo stayed incredibly relaxed down the straight, seemingly floating away from the field, crossing the finish line in an astonishing 19.46 seconds. That wasn't just an Olympic gold medal. It became the fifth fastest 200 meters ever run in human history, placing a 21-year-old alongside legends like Usain Bolt, Johan Blake, and Michael Johnson. Lyles, the sport's biggest star, had been decisively beaten when it mattered most. But the victory carried a weight that went far beyond sports trivia. Earlier that year, Tebogo suffered the devastating loss of his mother, Elizabeth. Instead of letting the grief consume his career, he carried her memory onto the biggest stage in sports. The custom golden spikes he wore during that Olympic final included her birth date. Every stride on that purple track was a deeply personal tribute. Sometimes sport creates moments that transcend medals and world records. This was, without a doubt, one of them. Now let's look at the actual physics of why Tebogo is so difficult to beat. At first glance, nothing about his running seems dramatic. There is no excessive upper body movement, no visible struggle, and no desperate, tense sprint to the line. Everything looks effortless. In sprinting, performance is governed by a simple mathematical equation: stride length multiplied by stride frequency. Standing at 184 centimeters tall, Tebogo naturally possesses the long levers required to generate massive stride length. However, historically, taller sprinters face a massive trade-off. Their longer limbs take more time to recycle, resulting in a slower stride frequency or cadence. Conversely, shorter athletes possess incredible step frequency, but cover less ground per stride. Tebogo somehow breaks this traditional athletic compromise. He manages both elite length and elite frequency. Watch him closely during the maximum velocity phase, typically between the 60 and 100 meter mark. His foot contacts the track for an incredibly short period, a metric sport scientists call ground contact time. The moment his foot strikes, it immediately returns underneath his center of mass. This precise positioning minimizes braking forces. If your foot lands too far in front of your body, it acts as a brake. Tebogo avoids this entirely, allowing him to maintain speed with remarkable efficiency. Instead of fighting the track and pounding the surface, he almost seems to glide across it, preserving crucial energy for the final meters of the race. While many sprinters can run fast in a straight line, the real magic of the 200 meters begins and ends on the curve. The first half of this race decides almost everything. Many elite athletes lose their rhythm entering the bend because centrifugal force naturally pulls the human body outward, forcing the runner to waste energy fighting sideways momentum. Tebogo handles this kinetic problem entirely differently than his peers. Notice how he naturally leans his entire body into the curve, establishing a perfect diagonal line from his ankle up to his shoulders, rather than twisting inefficiently from the waist. His head stays perfectly stable, tracking the inner line of the lane. His shoulders remain level, preventing any rotational energy waste. Meanwhile, his hips continue driving directly forward. Every single movement works in perfect harmony to preserve linear momentum instead of wasting metabolic energy, correcting his balance. Even more impressive is what happens at the exit of the turn. Most runners experience a slight deceleration or need several erratic steps to reorganize their posture before attacking the home straight. Tebogo arrives on the straightaway already perfectly aligned and operating at absolute top speed. The transition is seamless, making it look as though the curve never existed. Beyond the angles and forces, there is perhaps the biggest mechanical difference between Tebogo and almost every other active elite sprinter: absolute relaxation. Watch his face during the peak intensity of a race. Watch his hands. Watch his shoulders. Nothing appears tense. This hyperrelaxation is a rare psychological and physical trait that we previously saw in Usain Bolt during his legendary world record eras. Elite sprinting is a paradox. It is not about producing maximum raw effort every single millisecond. It is about producing maximum force while completely eliminating unnecessary tension everywhere else in the body. Tension is the enemy of speed. When a muscle is tense, its antagonist muscle has to work harder to fight against it, creating internal resistance. Compare Tebogo with Lyles during the dying stages of a demanding championship race. When lactic acid builds up and fatigue increases, Lyles occasionally exhibits visible tension through his neck, shoulders, and upper torso. His running style becomes aggressive and forced. Tebogo, conversely, remains visually unchanged from start to finish. That profound relaxation allows his energy to stay focused exclusively where it matters most, driving vertical force directly into the track. It is the primary reason his running looks incredibly smooth, even when he is moving at nearly 44 kilometers per hour. Fast forward to June 2026. The athletics world gathered in Oslo with immense anticipation. Australian teenage phenomenon Gout Gout was making his highly publicized Diamond League debut, and many track analysts expected immediate fireworks. Instead, Tebogo delivered a masterclass and a quiet reminder to the next generation. Champions don't need hype. They simply win. From the starter's gun, Tebogo controlled the entire layout of the race with absolute confidence. Coming off the bend, Gout briefly looked competitive, feeding off the energy of the crowd. But once the straightaway opened up, Tebogo gradually and effortlessly increased the gap, without ever looking like he reached his maximum gear. He crossed the line in 19.84 seconds, another world-class performance and another statement victory. For Gout Gout, it was an invaluable learning experience against the absolute pinnacle of the sport. For Tebogo, it was simply another routine day at the office. That specific race perfectly illustrated the vast gulf between extraordinary young talent and proven, world-class championship execution. One athlete may represent the fascinating future of sprinting, but the other is already completely defining the present. At only 23 years old, Letsile Tebogo has already transformed athletics in Botswana forever. Olympic champion, one of the fastest 200-meter runners in human history, World Athletics Male Athlete of the Year, and perhaps most importantly, an athlete whose flawless technique may well become the mechanical blueprint for the next generation of sprinters. The biggest question in track and field is now impossible to ignore. Can anyone eventually challenge Usain Bolt's legendary 19.19 world record? No one can say for sure. But if there is an active runner whose mechanics suggest there is still massive untapped potential left in the tank, Tebogo belongs near the very top of that conversation. So what do you think? Whose sprinting technique impresses you the most? Is it the raw power of Usain Bolt, the competitive grit of Noah Lyles, or the fluid elegance of Letsile Tebogo? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep biomechanical breakdown, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, leave a like, and stay tuned for more elite sprint analysis and track and field stories. See you in the next video.